Hi guys. Rare video of me without a camera facing the other direction. But there's nothing really to show or talk about that hasn't already been shown or talked about. So hey y'all, it's Kate, Kate's Garden, Chicken and Cat Rambles. And I'm looking at my sweet Moira right now. Hands free. I know my phone is hanging by the tripod, which is bendable from the crossbar that holds my swing. So I'm gonna try not to swing too much. I kind of just got it positioned. But there's some light coming, so that's why I have glasses on. And they can only help. But yeah, it's Wednesday. It's the proverbial hump day. Where you're supposed to be. Oh, sorry, got it. Little gnats. Uh, Squirrel wasn't squirrel. I'll start saying Moira because I started watching her, and she's just digging around and it distracts me. So anyhow, it's hump day. It's Wednesday. Um, I think it's about 85 outside. I think our heat index is 100, 101. I know I mention weather almost every video, but this time of year, if you're outside filming, that's one of the things that's the top of your list is the heat. And sometimes I feel really guilty because I know I have family in Oklahoma and Texas. Oh, sorry, my swing moved a little bit. And they're a lot hotter. Their heat indexes and everything is so much more than mine. But a lot of it has to do with what you're climatized to. I'm used to the mid-Atlantic climate. I'm used to very high humidity. And though I'm used to it and we do get really hot, there's sometimes that, certain times of year we're warmer than places that are normally colder. But I mean, places that are normally warmer than us. Sometimes the year we are warmer than them. But anywho, I guess last Thursday or Friday is when I mowed, and I mowed inside the chicken yard. Maybe it was Saturday morning. I can't remember. I didn't feel so bad when I was done doing it and weed eating and push mowing. There's a squirrel up here in the tree about 10 feet staring at me. I can see the white of its eyes if it had white in its eyes. I'm going to take this. Oh, he moved. I was going to take this off here and show it. I mean, I just heard it, and he's like less than 10 feet away from me, just looking at me like, shut up, you're in my tree. I got the microphone on. Can you hear him? That little kind of barking. That's the squirrel. Maybe they have a nest or babies. I don't know, but it's been picking out on my bird feeders. But anyhow, so I think I really overdid it that day in the heat because every day since, I mean, I have to go out every day, and I do stuff in the morning, and then I go out about. I always go out around noon because I know any of the waters from the night before or that early morning. You know, 6 o'clock is when I go out and take care of the chickens. Are warm. So at noon I go out and refresh all the waters and ice them down. Some I put ice in. I've also taken to freezing water bottles. One thing about my hint, I drink hint water. The labels peel off and there's like no residue, nothing you have to try to scrape off a bottle. So I've been freezing those and putting them in their water too. So they've got ice water and then they've got a frozen bottle of ice in there with the ice. So they like to pack up the ice. But yesterday I came out and I took some cuttings of one of my hydrangeas and put them in a root grower and put them in new pots to try to propagate some new hydrangeas. And I wasn't in the direct sun, but it was really hot. There was very little breeze. Today I have some breeze because it's coming out of the southeast. But when it's coming from the south, not only does my house block it, but it's 2-story condo homes behind us. I don't know. block a lot of that breeze from snaking around. So anyway, but I've gone in and every day I've taken a nap, and I'm not a napper. I wasn't a napper as a child. As an adult, I've never been a napper. I've never felt a need for a nap. I mean, I've always had lots of, even when I was tired and run down because of my blood, I have this, I don't know, mental energy. And there's something in me that feels like if I fall asleep for a few hours, I'm going to miss something, or there's something I could have been doing instead of napping. And I'm trying as an adult to get better about the nap thing. Um, and I've been getting a lot of mosquito bites, which I spray myself down. But sometimes I get tired of living in cutter or spray all the time, or skin so soft or whatever. But um, sometimes I forget. I just I'm clean. I don't want to cover myself in chemicals. But anyway, we've had these mosquitoes. I killed a few swarming around chaos, and then I caught one on my elbow just drinking away, and they're like striped. They're like these black and gray striped mosquitoes. They're evil, vicious little bitches. Anyhow, so I just I've been taking these naps, and I wake up from these naps, and I don't feel any better. Um, and when I like go to lay down for the nap or wake up, I feel like I have a fever. You know how your eyes feel when you have a fever, but I don't have a fever. So I think I got too much sun, and then each day when I get overheated, it's just sapping me. It's it's just sapping my strings. I don't know what it is. Middle age, getting older, who knows? But so I haven't been out filming much, and there've been some cute things I see when I come outside. But remember to grab my phone. Just I'm just not doing it. So behind me, you can see the wildflower garden. It's doing awesome. See, I have to do this because I feel so awkward being on camera just myself. It's just, I'm just not that type of person. So, anywho, so some things from videos before. Marigold. I made the video of me having her out of the chicken yard. That didn't even last the whole day. I think that was Sunday. Yeah, that was Sunday. She had somehow managed to get over in my neighbor's yard. Between 10, I went to, okay, so she was out when I went to the store at 7 a.m. The car didn't bother her. She wasn't scared. I came back. He was still out just around the chicken yard. I had to go back to the store about 10. And when I came back, I couldn't find her anywhere. I was like, what the heck? And I called her, and she didn't come. And uh, she knows her name, and the reason she couldn't come is because she was locked up in another yard. But apparently, she had wandered next door, and the Charlie, the elderly gentleman that lives next door, also helps his neighbor on the other side of him who has some chickens. And that guy had, I think he had several Delaware, and then he's got a whole, I don't know, half a dozen or maybe 8 Rhode Island Reds. So when Charlie saw Marigold running around the backyard, he thought it was Mark's, one of his Rhode Island Reds. So he picked her up and put her in Mark's yard, which I thanked him hundreds of times for doing that. That's why she didn't come when I called. But I don't think she's as trained to come when I call her like Moira does. Moira, when I call Moira's name, she comes running, waddling over. It's so cute. But and Marigold knows her name, but somehow she had managed to get over in Charlie's yard, and she was on the other side of their house between him and Mark's, and they noticed her because they saw their outdoor cat winding up to pounce. It's like she's gonna get her a bird. So I guess Charlie ran out and scooped her up and put her in Mark's yard, thinking it was his neighbor's. So later, after I came home and I put the groceries away and I wandered, made several laps around the perimeter of my house, I called my neighbor and I said, Vicki, if you or Charlie see a little red chicken with janky feathers, she's mine. Grab her, toss her over my back fence. And she's like, wait a minute. Charlie found a chicken, and she told me the story about Tinkerbell was about to attack a bird and he put it in Mark's yard. And that's before I knew Mark had Rhode Island Reds. I was like, oh, okay, no, that one's mine. It's got really jacked up feathers in the back. And I said, she's old. She doesn't lay. But, I let her out so she could have a break from the boys who were tag teaming her. But So I went over and got her, and sure enough, in his backyard, he had a whole bunch of Rhode Island Reds. And so I can't blame Charlie for, not knowing whose chicken it was. And thankfully, he did think it was Mark's, because instead of getting in the street or attacked by a neighbor cat, she was rescued in Mark's yard. And his hens weren't messing with her. She was off by herself by a bush, but she wasn't being chased or picked on. If a part of me was tempted, if Mark hadn't seen us, to let her live over there, he probably would never even notice. But no, she's mine. She's my responsibility. But I brought her back, and I put her back in the yard, because that's where she wanted to be. And the whole day after she stuck to Laddie's side, she walks in front of him and like runs her from her head down her back, like under his chin and his breast. She's really attached to him. And like this morning, Cosmo, the other rooster, had covered her. And after he got up and walked off, she just stayed squatted down. I was like, oh, poor old chicken. I picked her up. She was okay. I put her in the coop, and she ran and got in a nest box, kind of hide. Like, I don't know if she was hiding from me or from the boys, but she is not happy, and she is not herself. She's so stressed if I take her out of there. So she wants to be with the other chickens. So she's back in there, and I just check on her several times a day. So with this heat, I see the chickens panting a lot, and they've got fans on them in their nest boxes and plenty of shade. But I figured I couldn't expect a lot of eggs. But I have the 2, 4, 5 that are laying right now, 2 that are fixing to start laying, and more. So that would be 3 that should be laying. The Easter eggers should be laying anytime. They're getting covered, and one of them is setting for the roosters, but they haven't laid yet. But I'm getting 4 to 5 eggs a day, so that's pretty good. I'm like, oh, time to make some quiches. Make some quiches and freeze them. But make my own egg noodles. Anyway, I don't want to think about food. I'm full. Makes me nauseous. But so that's how things are going. I am going to. Sorry, I've got to spin this to get my drink. I've got to harvest my potatoes in the next. Sorry, that's my hand. This next week, I'm going to need to mow again, especially at least in the side yard, the big yard, and the the 1 acre that is the side yard and the chicken yard and all that stuff. Now I used a little mechanical push mower on the grassy parts of the flower garden behind me, and it did great. But since then, well, for several days after that, like I would like sit down or lay down and get up, and I would be like, oh, my stomach muscles were so sore, like I had been doing sit-ups. So apparently pushing that is good abdominal exercise. So come fall, maybe I'll get up the gumption on a nice cool day and just push it all over the yard for exercise. I don't know. But that's about all that's going on. Cats are doing good. It's just that the pinnacle of summer where, everybody's striving to stay cool and just maintain. Now we're supposed to be having today no rain or anything like that, but tomorrow afternoon maybe start some rain, and there's some big storms coming towards the northeast, coming from like the Ohio Valley area. So we're supposed to have thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday. I mean Friday and Saturday. So we shall see. So I won't be out doing anything. I mean, as much as I love to get out in the storm, it's just really not conducive to filming, or the animals are like not doing anything. And so anyhow, I'm sitting here, and I'm making this video, and I'm looking at my empty bird feeder, and I see little birds on limbs watching me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I've always in my whole life, this is something I have to work on still, even in my mid-50s, is a guilt complex. Things that I have no control over or have nothing to do with me really, or just life. I carry a lot of guilt. Somehow I will find a way to feel guilty for it. And it's kind of been, like a signature my whole adult life. I don't talk to uh, much my whole life, not just my whole adult life. I've talked to one sister about it a lot because there was some dramas and some issues that went on with my family and some circumstances that were beyond my control. Um, I was part of them only because of, that's who I was born to. That was family. That was the life I was born into. But so much of it, my entire life, I felt guilty for things that others did without or had to do or put up with, that I knew wasn't something that they were real pleased with having to put up with and live with and deal with in their life. I carried the guilt for that. I felt guilty that, a few things have been different, um, with the timing of my birth or my coming into this world, that their lives would have been easier. But anyway, blah blah blah. That's just personal drama and it's old stuff, and you can't live in the past. My brother posts this all the time. My older brother, we don't really talk. I mean, none of my family, we don't really communicate much. They have their life and I have my life outside online, kind of. So, but always, you can't live in the past. There's nothing you can absolutely do about it. The only thing you can control or take care of is your present and your future. And that's true. And it's easier said than done, not letting things from your past or old hurts or pains or issues sometimes surface in your present. And they are, you can't ever, it's not like you can eradicate those from your life. You cannot dwell on them and you cannot let them rule your life. But there are times that, wounds that, um, can't say some wounds never heal, but some they do, in the sense that they've got a nice thin scab over them. And if you don't pick at them and mess with them, you never know they're there. But then there's sometimes something can happen and you can accidentally bump that and it bleeds a little bit into your present, like a skin knee. You can not be touching and not mess with it and accidentally bump into a table and feel a moment's pain and remember that you got something sore there, and bleeds a little bit. But I work really hard not to hold grudges, and things that used to make me angry and resentful of, I'm not anymore. I mean, it's pointless to live that way. Life is what life was. Life is what life is, and you know, just take it one day at a time and keep going. And I'm in a pretty peaceful place in my life. You know, I'm. I would love to say I'm just happy where I'm at, and I guess I am, but I never grew up seeing an example of what being happy with your life was like. So my mother was never, there's moments of happiness, but as happy in her life and situation, she never was. And we were close, but your mother does have a strong influence on you. And, there's stuff that she instills in you from a very young age it's hard to negate and to get rid of all that and to eliminate all that from your life. And if you can, then you're a really, really strong and amazing person, and I admire you for that. But I don't harbor any anger, or I love my mom. She did the best she could. There's so much of her life and how she was the way she was, and all that stuff that I will never know. And the last 10 years of her life, when I was finding peace and acceptance in my older age, she was lost to dementia and Alzheimer's. And so there's so many questions and so many things I'd have loved to have talked to her about that I never could. But she watches over me. There's times I sense her. Me and my sister were talking the other day, and it was kind of funny, but it was kind of magical and pretty. I told her that I don't spend a lot of time dwelling or thinking I miss my mom, blah blah blah. She's been gone now from my life for so long, but I do think about her. But the weirdest little thing sometimes will make you think of your mom. And mine that day was I was peeling potatoes, and cutting up okra with a paring knife. We didn't grow up peeling potatoes with a potato peeler. We are all really good with knives. It's a good thing, isn't it? And I peel potatoes typically with a paring knife. And I was just cutting the potatoes and I was looking at my hands and the way I was doing it. And all of a sudden, I just got this overwhelming, like a tear in my eye, thinking about my mom. And I just, it's like, I don't know if I was feeling her presence or just memories, things that impress upon you, because I peel potatoes just like my mother did. I was telling my sister Tammy about that. She's like, you know what? Oh my God. She's like, she said she was doing it the other day too. That the exact same thing happened to her when she was peeling potatoes. And I think that's not funny. It's just, I was peeling potatoes and then I was slicing okra. And of course, a lot of people use a chopping board for everything. I don't unless I'm chopping something up. But I was just holding the okra and then just with the paring knife doing that one, snipping it off on top of the potatoes. And it was just something that I guess probably because I've seen my mother do it 100,000 times. And probably because she's seen my mother do it. And though we don't all look like our mother, my sister Paula really does. There's moments I can. Certain characteristics and things we do, faces we make, even though our faces are all different, we'll make the same kind of a face or a concentrating look or like a rubbing our chin or our lip. And the way we gesture is our mother, And I just thought it was funny that she and I, she's in Texas, in Austin, well, in Pflugerville, and I'm out here on the East Coast in Delaware, and we both had these moments of, a tear in our eye and feeling our mother and thinking about our mom because we were peeling potatoes. Isn't that crazy? You know, maybe it's because something we did with her. We spent time with our mother in the kitchen. Um, I probably spent more, um, but growing up, I don't know how much time they spent watching my mom do things like that. But anyhow, that was kind of neat. And my flower garden out here, even though it's got roses and lilies and wildflowers, and it's still called June's Garden. It's dedicated to my mother because she is where we all get the gardening green thumb from. She got that from my grandma. And I'm sure my grandma got it from her grandma and passed it on, but we all have a very good, a very prolific green thumb. Some of us use it more than others, but we have a really good green thumb, and we also are all really great, just natural cooks. We just are natural in the kitchen, whether we're following a recipe or we're creating something or, you know, you know, just something that's passed on down. Now, I passed that on to my stepdaughter, and she, by herself, if someone said, I need you to make a full Thanksgiving spread for say 12 people, she would know what to do, how to do it, and have it all ready at the same time. You know, just little things you pass on and teach kids. But so this is just me rambling a little bit. I need to talk to somebody, I guess. I'm talking to you guys. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. And I'm sorry there's no chickens and no interesting cats doing anything. But sometimes I'm like I did that video with me. I didn't feel like talking that day. I didn't feel good. So I just turned the camera on the birds. It was, maybe it was Monday. Was it Monday? I think it was Monday. I don't remember what day it was even, but I just, I woke up and I was still feeling like I had had too much sun. And I know I'm bad. I should be wearing a hat every time out in the sun. And oftentimes I do, but hats make me hotter. And with a hat on, I feel like I'm smothering, like my head can't breathe. And maybe that's just because I have so much hair, thick hair. Like I already have a hat on. It's a hat made of hair. It's a hair hat. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a picture of me sitting in a swing that day, and I posted on Facebook, and you can see how red my face was, and you can still kind of see how my nose and cheeks are still really red. And it's not because I'm out in the sun, but that one day of sun was just been harsh. And as I've gotten older, like we all say, we just don't tolerate it as well like we used to. So I guess I'm running out of things to ramble about. I'm not really good at this. And I am probably not going to edit this, so you'll hear everything I say and every pause and every faux pas. I do not enjoy the editing process. I mean, I have my GoPro, and when I first started my channel, there's like an introductory little film, and I did that, a lot of that stuff with the GoPro, and I put SD cards in the card reader, and then took it from the card reader into the computer. And at that time, I had like a free month of uh, Coral. I think that's the editing software I used that time. But I just really don't enjoy getting into that kind of techie stuff. And for one, I mean, I do things. I'll do a little bit of editing and things with the Movie Maker on my phone, because that's what I'm filming with all the time, anyways. The iPhones. But I can't afford to invest. I just can't. I cannot afford to get an app of a really good editing software. I can't afford to be buying music, music that I'm just going to use for videos. I can't do that, and so I make do with what I have. And if I want music and something, I figure out a way to do it. But that's a squirrel, I believe. Oh no, it's a bird. So I'm underneath the dogwood tree. Listen to all that conversation. They're talking about something more important than I could talk about. Just listen a minute. Oh yeah, I was going to say, now that I'm quiet, they stop talking, but they're going to keep talking. I know what they're saying. Get your lazy butt out of that swing and fill our feeders. Little Miss Squirrel pigged out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end this video, almost 30 minutes of me just jabbering and sitting out here in the swing while there was a little bit of a breeze, and right before the sun is just now starting to hit the top of my head. So it's probably almost 2 o'clock, or a little after 2 o'clock. Wait, I have a watch on. Let me see. It's 2:25. So yeah, I'm gonna go in because the sun will start coming from behind me now. I'm facing the house and the chicken yard. Now I'm facing the garden. But yeah, and the sun's coming from that direction. But my oh my, the wildflowers look good. So we're going to end this with me removing this phone from this holder and bringing you guys over to take a look at my beautiful, oh sorry, double chin, my beautiful, beautiful wildflowers, which I am very happy and proud of. Mm-hmm. Aren't those lovely? All right. So it's been great chatting with you guys. And let's do it again. And I've said before, if enough people respond and want to do a live with me one day, I will set up and do a live. Until then, me, my little microphone, and my chickens are going to call it a day. All right? Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.